Boker Tov, everybody. So this week's parsha is Chukat, and there's a lot happening in this portion. Something a lot of people probably have some awareness of is when Miriam dies, that the wells dry up, right? So we learn that Miriam is the sort of source of water for the camps. So they've kind of come to the end of 40 years of they're coming towards the end of 40 years of wandering, and she dies, and so then they need water, and Moses strikes the rock. So there's a lot that happens with that. But I want to point out something that's, I think, a little bit less known in this parsha, and it's a song. It's a very short song. It's a song about a well. So this happens after the rock incident. So here's what it says. Then Israel sang this song, "Ascend, O well, sing to it. A well dug by princes, carved out by nobles of the people, through the lawgiver with their staffs, and from the desert a gift. From the gift to the streams, and from the streams to the heights, from the heights to the valley in the field of Moab, at the top of the peak that overlooks the wastelands." So this is very poetic, and it's a little bit difficult to discern exactly what the meaning behind these words really is. So there's a midrash to fill in sort of the background of this song and why it's there. And the midrash says that they were in the lands of Ammon and Moab, and they were passing through these lands, but they didn't realize that the Ammonites were actually laid hidden to ambush them. They didn't realize that, but then it turns out that there were protrusions in the mountains that aligned with clefts on the other mountain, that from one side to the other. And so before the people passed through, that the mountains miraculously moved towards each other, and they turned the clefts into a graveyard for the Ammonites who were crushed inside. And so the people wouldn't have even known about this if it weren't for the waters of the well, and then it actually washed up the proof of that with some of the dead bodies left behind from the Ammonites. So it actually teaches us that, the people passed through without incident and didn't even realize that there had been sort of a miraculous event that God had put in place for them so that they wouldn't be ambushed and killed without knowing that they were there. And so they wouldn't have even known about it if it weren't for these waters. And I think it really drives the point home that there are so many miracles in our lives that we just can't even see. We can't even understand. We don't even know all of the things that happen behind the scenes that lead to positive things in our lives or the lack of some negative things in our lives. We don't even know about them, right? If it weren't for that well, they wouldn't have even known that the Ammonites were there to ambush them and had been killed and were prevented from doing that. So I think it kind of brings to mind the butterfly effect. They say that for the wings of the butterfly flapping in one place and it causes the rains to fall in another place. There are little minute miracles, things that happen that have wave effects that impact us, right? But we don't always know what they are. We don't always understand these forces in our lives and that are hopefully for the good. So I want us to take a moment in our lives to understand that there are so many unseen forces for good in our lives. We don't always understand what they are or how they work, but we do benefit from all of those little miracles every day. Thank you.
Also, the Cantor